That's not great. But when you get older and you're thinking about retirement, this is the wrong sport for you. And it's going to be interesting to see, does he miss a week? Does he miss 3 weeks? And again, they're in a good situation with Jameis Winston, but I don't think they're in the top two without Drew Brees.
Hey, Mike, I got to ask you this because I know the Packers are 7-2, and I know Key always says you have to win the games that are in front of you. That's all you can do. But their wins are against the Vikings, even though they're playing better now. Lions, they did beat the Saints. The Falcons were depleted. They were playing horrible. The Texans, horrible. The 49ers, depleted. And then the Jags.
Yeah, Jay, well, it's a great point. And let's go back to yesterday. James Robinson over 100 yards, and coming into the game with Jake Luton being the quarterback, Mike Penn, the Packer defensive coordinator, knows we got to stop Robinson, and he still ran for over 100 yards. So even though they may be the best team in a one-game series, they still have flaws. As you said, it showed up against Minnesota, specifically this year, in the championship game against the 49ers a year ago, and they haven't fixed that problem. And we all know the worst thing is when you have a weakness and you can't fix it, your opponent's going to exploit it.
Mike Tannenbaum joining us here. All guest joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. When you look at the Giants, and these guys laughed at me for saying this, Mike, I had the Giants kind of back in it and challenging Philadelphia for the division. They won that game yesterday. Where do you see this division headed?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Key. You know, the headline coming out of the early games yesterday was coming into yesterday, the Giants were 26th in the NFL in opponents' third down conversion. Yesterday, Philadelphia did not convert one third down. To me, that's a great sign of coaching and Joe Judge fixing a problem. We just talked about the Packers and their run defense not getting better. Look at the Giants. Their third down defense, much better. So they're in the thick of this thing, and I give them as good a chance as anybody because they're improving. And if Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over, they really have a chance. And remember, they're doing this without their best player, Saquon Barkley.
Mike, do you think that the Patriots, after that crazy win last night in a rain storm, do you think the Patriots have now sent another message to the AFC East that they're not going away?
Yeah, Kia, I've said that for a number of weeks. Let's go back and look. Seattle, they lost by 1 yard, literally 1 yard. Cam Newton, 4th and goal. Against Buffalo, they're in field goal range. They're at the 12-yard line. They're either going to tie it or win it in Buffalo. So they've already beaten Miami. We know Miami's going to be there till the end. And this thing is far from over. Now, look, Buffalo still is the best team. They had a crazy loss, as we've already talked about. But I think what New England's done is they found an identity, and it's Damian Harris, a very talented running back from Alabama. He gives them a pathway to win games consistently. And this thing is far from over. And we also have to remember, guys, this year, 17 makes the playoffs. And every AFC coach, whether or not they'll admit it or not, what they're going to say inside their building is the one team and coach they don't want to see in a one-game series is Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots.
Mike, what do you feel about Lamar right now? Should we be concerned about not only his play on the field, but his thought process? Because after post games, he's kind of been saying some stuff, whether it's they're calling out the defense, they're calling out our offensive plays, or the rain affected the way we played yesterday. What are we thinking now with him?
Yeah, I think he's just a young man that's still growing up. He's the league MVP. All eyes were going to be on him. We knew that. This was going to be an important year in his career. And he's a great kid. Football is really important to him. I think he's going to continue to get better and better. And I think like what we saw last night, he's going to see a lot more zone coverage. And the reason for that is the opposing team's defensive coordinator wants 11 sets of eyes on Lamar Jackson, because if you play man-to-man and you're on defense and you turn your back to him, he could be gone. And I think that's going to be a big growing pain. I think we're seeing some frustration, but Baltimore's in there. They got a great defense. This is a team that's really hard to defend offensively, and he's young and he'll continue to get better, but I would not count them out by any stretch.
Yeah, Mike, every now and then you might want to hold on to your wide receivers,
Got him on the way in, getting him on the way out.
Mike, you got to come in here hot, man. He's coming in hot today on this Monday to start off the week, man.
Every now and then, those receivers are worth that money.
I don't know, 2 number 1 picks are pretty valuable as well, though.
A zinger on the way back. We should mention Baltimore kind of still finding that offensive identity, trying to figure out who they are. Next up for them, a team that's in the very same boat, still trying to figure out who they are and what their offensive identity is after hitting a rough patch of their own. And that's the Tennessee Titans, two teams that need to turn it around pretty quick. That's our Mike Tannenbaum with us every Monday morning to break down Sunday in the NFL. Mike, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, good. All right, thanks, guys.
We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So he kind of broke down what's going on with Lamar. He's just a young guy still finding his way. Cam Newton, not exactly a young guy finding his way. He's 31. He's been in the league. First overall pick since 2011. A couple of amazing notes. And I know the big winner last night was Mother Nature with all the weather in that game. There's a couple games really affected by weather. We'll get into the Browns and their game coming up at the top of the hour. Big time weather issues there. Big time stat here for Newton. I think I'd like to get your thought on this as a wide receiver. Last night, Cam Newton threw a touchdown pass. Ready for this?
Yay!
For the first time since week 3. That was his first touchdown pass since week number 3. I understand he's been out. There's been some issues. But for his time out there, it had been 19 quarters. 19 quarters since he had thrown a touchdown pass. Again, his stats weren't great, but after the game, he was, again, sort of relieved, just like the way he was on Monday Night Football. Same sort of attitude on Sunday Night Football. Whew, got this one, and we're moving on.
Well, that is, you look at the statistical side of things, and people judge based on statistics. And I always say this. See it with your damn eyes, man, and not with the numbers in your computer. Understand what type of player he is. Don't get caught up in the numbers. And I think when you look at Cam, he has them in a position where they're going to be right in it in the division because Miami's right there. They got to play them again. Buffalo's right there. They have to play them again. And those two teams got to play each other. So New England's not going away. And he continues to just get better as a football player all the way around. Not this passer that everybody wants him to be. That's not who he is. He's a football player and a dominant football player when he's healthy. But everybody, it's this, and me and Jay was talking about it, it's just this notion in people's minds that they want you to be something other than what you are. Like they want him to be Tom Brady or they want him to be Joe Montana. That's not who he is. He's a guy who wins with his legs and here and there makes a few throws and wins with his arm. That's it. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Drew Brees. Accept the type of player that he is as long as you're getting the W's.
And also, Key, I learned a valuable lesson this weekend because when you look at the matchups on paper, obviously some issues, both teams offensively. We've talked about this multiple times, Lamar throwing outside the numbers, Cam obviously as well. But on paper, looking at what the Ravens defense is supposed to be, I walked away saying, all right, I think the Ravens get this game. I think they punish Cam. I'm not going to count out Bill Belichick ever again, damn it. Like, I am overlooking. I know you keep trying to tell me, and I want to find a way to go against the grain.
Don't be listening to the people that hate Belichick.
But it's crazy just watching them run the ball, even with the stacked box. Damian Harris, 22 carries, man, 121 yards. Ran the ball down their throat. Even the trickery he played with Jacoby Myers, right? He just finds these ways to keep you on your toes, man.
It's great coaching. I'm overmatched. We don't necessarily have the same type of personnel as the opponent, but I'm going to figure a way out to win. And I'm going to figure out how to, at the last minute, them not realizing that Jacoby Myers was a kid that was out of high school in Georgia on a scholarship to NC State as a quarterback, but Baltimore scouting should have said that. They should have said that based on who Jacoby Myers is, where his history's at, that there's a possibility that he could throw a football at any given moment in the game. Now, I don't know if their scouting report said that or not, but if it didn't, that's an indictment on the advanced scouting to not know that this is an ex-quarterback. How many times have you seen Jacoby run a reverse this year? Once, maybe? That's setting it up for games down the line, and they pulled it right out on Baltimore. I was like, oh, as soon as he did it, because I could obviously see it early, watching, I could see the flow. I'm like, oh, he getting ready to pull up and throw that. Mm-hmm. And he stood in there, and it was a strike because the back out of the backfield wasn't clearly wide open, but he was open enough where he gave him a chance, and he ran underneath it, threw it perfect. you.